Gene I'd known for many years, but we'd never worked together, and he was in a mood at that time.
At 94, Clint Eastwood has made headlines once again, not for a new film, but for revealing who he doesn't want at his funeral. It's a striking statement from a man who has long been known for his privacy and directness. Born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, California, Eastwood is a legendary figure in American cinema, with a career spanning over 7 decades. Raised during the Great Depression, he grew up in a modest household, frequently moving due to his father's work as a steelworker. These early hardships helped shape his rugged individualism and ironclad work ethic, qualities that would define both his screen persona and his personal life. After graduating from high school in Oakland, Eastwood held a string of jobs: lumberjack, lifeguard, and gas station attendant, before being drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War. His time in the military, particularly while stationed at Fort Ord, introduced him to aspiring filmmakers and actors, quietly setting the stage for his future in Hollywood. Eastwood's entry into acting came in the 1950s, with minor and often uncredited roles in B-movies. His breakthrough came when he was cast as Rowdy Yates in the TV western Rawhide. Though the role was initially secondary, Eastwood's on-screen charisma quickly turned him into a fan favorite, laying the foundation for his rise to international stardom. The 1960s brought Eastwood his most iconic roles with Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy: A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, 1966. These spaghetti westerns revolutionized the genre and introduced Eastwood's signature character, the quiet, morally ambiguous anti-hero with a piercing glare and few words. In the 1970s, he solidified his place as a cultural icon with the role of Dirty Harry Callahan, a no-nonsense San Francisco cop who embodied a new brand of American toughness during a period of social upheaval. The Dirty Harry films, beginning in 1971, resonated with audiences frustrated by bureaucracy and rising crime, and Eastwood's gravelly intensity became emblematic of law and order grit. But Eastwood wasn't content to stay in front of the camera. His directorial debut came in 1971 with Play Misty for Me, a psychological thriller that proved he had storytelling skills to match his screen presence. Over the years, he built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most reliable and respected directors, known for his efficient shooting style, emotional subtlety, and ability to draw exceptional performances from his actors. His 1992 film Unforgiven, a revisionist western that challenged the very genre he helped define, won him Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture. He would go on to direct and star in other acclaimed films such as $1 Million Baby, 2004, Gran Torino, 2008, American Sniper, 2014, and Richard Jewell, 2019, consistently exploring themes of heroism, identity, and redemption. Unlike many of his Hollywood peers, Eastwood has maintained tight creative control over his projects. His production company, Malpaso Productions, has overseen the majority of his films since the 1970s, allowing him to work on lean budgets and tight schedules, a testament to his professionalism and integrity. Beyond filmmaking, Eastwood has led a multifaceted life. A passionate jazz aficionado, he has composed music for several of his movies and supported the jazz community throughout his career. He also served as mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California, from 1986 to 1988, demonstrating his interest in civic life. As a businessman, he's been involved in real estate, restaurants, and other ventures, often with quiet success. On December 19, 1953, Eastwood married Margaret Neville, Maggie Johnson, a model and secretary he met on a blind date. At the time, Eastwood was still a struggling actor, and their marriage would span decades of dramatic change in both his personal life and career. Maggie stood by him during his rise to stardom through Rawhide and the Dollars trilogy, even as their relationship faced challenges, including his frequent absences while filming and rumors of extramarital affairs. Together, they had 2 children, including Kyle Eastwood, born in 1968, who would go on to become a respected jazz musician and composer. Eastwood's life has been anything but ordinary, marked by enduring fame, critical acclaim, political engagement, and complex relationships. Now, in the twilight of a life lived on his own terms, Clint Eastwood's refusal to allow certain people at his funeral is a final statement of autonomy. A man who has spent his entire life writing his own script, Eastwood continues to do so, even in death. Contributing music to several of his father's films, Kyle Eastwood carried on the family legacy in his own unique way. Their daughter, Allison Eastwood, born in 1972, also followed in her father's footsteps, establishing herself as an actress, director, and fashion model. Allison appeared in several of Clint's films, including Tightrope, 1984, and Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, 1997, and later stepped behind the camera to direct the feature film Rails and Ties in 2007. Despite their shared history and 2 children, Eastwood's marriage to Maggie Johnson became increasingly strained, reportedly due to his extramarital affairs and growing emotional distance. After years of separation and public speculation, the couple formally divorced in 1984. The settlement was substantial, reflecting Eastwood's rising wealth and prominence. Johnson is believed to have received between $25 million and $30 million, making it one of Hollywood's most significant divorce settlements at the time. Years later, Eastwood married for a second time, this time to Dina Reese, a television news anchor more than 30 years his junior. They first met in 1993 when Reese interviewed Eastwood during the promotion of Unforgiven, the critically acclaimed Western that earned him Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture. What began as a professional encounter quickly turned personal, and the two were married on March 31, 1996, in a private ceremony at Eastwood's Carmel-by-the-Sea estate, where he had once served as mayor. That same year, the couple welcomed a daughter, Morgan Eastwood, born in December 1996. Unlike some of Eastwood's other children, Morgan largely stayed out of the spotlight, though she made occasional public appearances, including on the 2012 reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company, which followed Dina's life and featured various family members. Despite public efforts to present a stable marriage, cracks began to show. In August 2013, Dina revealed that she and Clint had been living separately for some time. Their divorce was finalized in 2014, marking the end of Eastwood's second formal marriage. Throughout his life, Eastwood has been as well known for his complicated personal life as for his cinematic achievements. In addition to Kyle, Allison, and Morgan, he is known to have fathered at least 5 other children with various women, though he has never publicly confirmed the exact number. Among them is Kimberlyn Eastwood, born in 1964 from a relationship with dancer Roxanne Tunis, and Scott Eastwood, born in 1986, who has built a successful acting career of his own and bears a strong resemblance to his father. Other known children include Catherine Reeves, Francesca Eastwood, and Laurie Murray, the latter of whom was adopted by another family and only reconnected with Eastwood later in life. Despite the tangled family web, Eastwood has maintained connections with several of his children, who have appeared alongside him at public events over the years. Still, he has largely refrained from discussing his personal relationships in detail, preferring to keep that side of his life private. The mystery surrounding the exact number of his children and the timeline of his relationships has only added to Eastwood's enigmatic reputation, reinforcing the image of a man who, even off-screen, speaks little but leaves a lasting impact. Now at 94, Clint Eastwood continues to fascinate the public, not only for his cinematic legacy but also for his personal convictions. In a rare and candid moment, Eastwood reportedly revealed a surprising list of people he doesn't want at his funeral. As he reflects on his life, beliefs, and legacy, this revelation offers a window into his deeply personal values and long-standing grievances. Among those he allegedly mentioned were John Wayne, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Spike Lee, Michael Moore, and Sandra Locke, each a name with whom he had either ideological clashes, personal conflict, or philosophical differences. John Wayne, despite being a towering figure like Eastwood in the Western genre, had a famously strained relationship with him. Wayne reportedly disliked the morally ambiguous characters Eastwood often portrayed, particularly in films like High Plains Drifter, which he felt tainted the idealized image of the American cowboy. When Eastwood once sent Wayne a script in hopes of collaborating, Wayne dismissed it as perverse, insisting that westerns should uphold heroism, not challenge it. Though Eastwood respected Wayne's legacy, he viewed the Duke as out of touch with the evolving complexity of cinematic storytelling. While Wayne died in 1979, Eastwood reportedly remarked that if the Duke could somehow attend his funeral, he'd rather he didn't, symbolizing the persistent ideological rift between them. Leonardo DiCaprio, another surprising name on Eastwood's not welcome list, is someone he reportedly clashed with over political and environmental activism. Though both have worked with director Martin Scorsese and are respected Oscar-winning actors, their worldviews appear to diverge sharply. Eastwood, known for his libertarian and conservative leanings, has expressed disdain for what he sees as Hollywood's virtue signaling, something he apparently associates with DiCaprio's outspoken activism. This list of unwanted mourners paints a picture of a man who, even in his final wishes, remains consistent with the core themes of his life and work: stoicism, independence, and an unflinching commitment to personal principles. Eastwood reportedly finds Leonardo DiCaprio's outspoken climate activism and political stances grating. A longtime libertarian with conservative leanings, Eastwood has frequently criticized Hollywood elites for being too politically correct and obsessed with virtue signaling. DiCaprio, known for his high-profile environmental speeches at the United Nations and his frequent use of private jets, which critics have called hypocritical, represents, to Eastwood, the type of Hollywood hypocrisy he's grown increasingly weary of. Despite directing DiCaprio in J. Edgar, 2011, Eastwood is believed to view him as emblematic of a younger Hollywood he no longer understands or respects. Another surprising name on Eastwood's alleged not welcome list is Tom Hanks, one of America's most beloved actors. Known for his wholesome, all-American image, Hanks stands in stark contrast to Eastwood's grittier, no-nonsense style. While the two collaborated on Sully, 2016, reports suggest their working relationship was cool, if not distant. Eastwood is famously known for his efficient directing style, minimal takes, fast schedules, and emotional restraint, while Hanks is deeply collaborative and meticulous. Politically, Hanks is a vocal Democrat who has supported various progressive causes and candidates, many of whom Eastwood has publicly criticized. But more than politics, Eastwood is said to be uncomfortable with Hanks's image as America's dad, a symbol of comfort and trust that feels, to Eastwood, too polished and out of sync with the raw, conflicted version of America he's spent his career portraying. Hanks's presence at his funeral, Eastwood allegedly said, would feel out of tune with the hard edges of the life he led. Then there's Spike Lee, whose relationship with Eastwood has been openly hostile. In 2008, Lee publicly criticized Eastwood for failing to include black soldiers in his World War II film's Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Eastwood responded by defending the historical accuracy of his casting choices and accusing Lee of stirring unnecessary controversy. The exchange quickly turned into a rare public feud between two top-tier directors. For Eastwood, who values control and dislikes being second-guessed, Lee's criticism crossed the line. He reportedly views Lee as a divisive figure, a symbol of what he considers performative activism, and someone whose presence would be antithetical to the spirit of dignity and introspection Eastwood imagines for his final farewell. Perhaps the least surprising inclusion on Eastwood's hypothetical no-show list is Michael Moore. The two have long been at odds. In 2005, Moore criticized Eastwood's American Sniper for glorifying war and promoting a jingoistic view of military heroism. Eastwood, in turn, once said that if Moore ever came near him with a camera, he'd kill him, a remark he later claimed was a joke, but one that revealed the depth of their animosity. Moore's brash, politically charged style of documentary filmmaking, and his fiercely anti-gun, anti-war stance, stands in direct opposition to Eastwood's reverence for soldiers, the Second Amendment, and individualist values. The idea of Moore delivering a eulogy or tribute, Eastwood is rumored to have said, would be the ultimate irony. The most emotionally charged name on the list, however, is undoubtedly Sandra Locke. Eastwood and Locke shared a turbulent 14-year relationship, during which they co-starred in multiple films. Their romance ended in a bitter and public legal battle after Locke accused Eastwood of emotional abuse and career sabotage. She filed several lawsuits, claiming Eastwood blacklisted her in the industry by setting up a fake development deal at Warner Brothers that led nowhere. Though they eventually settled out of court, the wounds from their separation never fully healed. Locke passed away in 2018, but Eastwood reportedly remarked that if spirits could haunt the living, he would hope hers wouldn't linger near his final rites. Her presence, he believed, would stir up too many painful memories from a chapter of his life he'd rather keep buried. In the end, Clint Eastwood remains as fiercely independent and unapologetic as ever. Even in contemplating death, he draws sharp lines between those he respects and those he does not. His hypothetical funeral, if these reports are to be believed, wouldn't simply be a celebration of a legendary career. It would be a final act of integrity, loyalty, and personal clarity. It would be a moment as controlled, deliberate, and unflinching as the man himself. Throughout his long life and career, Eastwood has also remained remarkably committed to health and fitness, a discipline that's defined him just as much as his films. Since his teenage years, he's maintained a strict routine of exercise and clean eating, long before fitness culture became popular in Hollywood. While many of his peers embraced a fast-living, hard-partying lifestyle, Eastwood stood out for his self-control. During the late 1950s and early 1960s, while starring as Rowdy Yates in Rawhide, his lean, muscular physique drew widespread attention, not just from fans but from health magazines and fitness experts, who frequently featured him in articles about diet, strength training, and longevity. His public image wasn't just crafted in front of the camera. It was earned through decades of consistent, disciplined living. Clint Eastwood's commitment to personal well-being was well documented, even in the early days of his career. One notable example appeared in the August 1959 issue of TV Guide, where Eastwood was prominently photographed performing push-ups, highlighting both his impressive physical condition and the discipline behind it. Alongside the images, he offered readers practical fitness advice rooted in his own daily regimen. He advocated for a balanced, natural diet, emphasizing the importance of fresh fruit and raw vegetables. Eastwood also recommended taking daily vitamins to supplement nutrition and warned against excessive sugar intake, especially sugary beverages like soda, which he believed led to energy crashes and long-term health issues. He advised moderation in carbohydrate consumption and discouraged the regular use of alcohol, particularly in large quantities. His health-conscious approach, which focused on preventive care and functional fitness, was decades ahead of the mainstream wellness movement. This mindset became even more resolute following a deeply personal tragedy, the sudden death of his father, Clinton Eastwood Sr., from a heart attack in 1970 at the age of 64. The loss devastated Eastwood. His longtime friend and collaborator Fritz Maynes once described it as the only bad thing that ever happened to him. The death shocked Eastwood to his core, especially considering that his paternal grandfather had lived well into his 90s. The contrast between his father's early passing and his grandfather's longevity left a lasting impression, reinforcing Eastwood's dedication to healthy living and instilling in him a sense of urgency about time and purpose. This life-changing moment also marked a shift in Eastwood's professional approach. From that point onward, he became increasingly focused and industrious, approaching his film projects with greater intensity. He gained a reputation for his fast, efficient directing style, often wrapping productions ahead of schedule and under budget. His discipline on set mirrored the consistency of his personal habits, reflecting a man determined to maximize both his time and his vitality. Interestingly, despite his avoidance of hard liquor and preference for moderation, Eastwood didn't shy away from creating social spaces for others. In 1971, he co-founded the Hog's Breath Inn, a rustic pub in the scenic coastal town of Carmel by the Sea, California. Designed with a warm, English-style charm featuring wood-paneled interiors and a relaxed, cozy atmosphere, the establishment quickly became a beloved local favorite. Though Eastwood himself rarely indulged in heavy drinking, the pub stood as a testament to his entrepreneurial spirit and deep connection to the Carmel community. He understood the importance of camaraderie, offering others a welcoming space to unwind, even if he chose not to partake in the same way.